Tobas Storm. We're just call you Storm, homie. At the Fantastica, whatever that is number. Okay, where he brought the Bully Boyz. So let me pull that up real quick. So this was a event. Where was this? Actually, we got it off the top of my head. This was a and how's the chat? This was in Sweden. Okay, that's what I thought. This was in Sweden, and it was an 85 player event. And so let's talk about my Gets Bully Boyz list, because can the Bully Boyz be cunning? So Tobas decided that he was going to show us what's up, where he brought a bit of Badaka and he brought a bit of infiltration. And of course, this is still with a live Daka list that's actually out on this as well. I'll pull it up real quick, because at this event, the person who ended up winning it was a Mordaka Orc player, right? So he knew that Mordaka was going to be there, and he still brought him. He ended up going 3-1 and then 1. So he ended up taking a loss. This was a true O. He did end up getting 20-0 that last game, and we can talk about how that ended up possibly happening. And then he had a draw. So he almost made it to X1, and considering that how everybody else was just playing Mordaka and he still got here and got close, I thought it took consideration, because a lot of people are still enjoying playing something like Bully Boyz. I still totally think that they have play, especially if you're playing RTTs. But here, my get took him out to the GT, and this is why I'm saying, you know, if you're chasing detachments and lists, you know, if they take a huge nerf and you're stuck playing those guys, then someone like Tobas, as soon as that guy the meta shifts, he'd be ready to run out and come out and topic. So let's see what he was thinking, being creative. We got Big Mac with shock attack gun. I like that he still brought that. We're seeing that consistently, where people are bringing that and tank busters, if it's one, if it's two, into multiple different detachments. This is why GW needs to be very careful when they come and try to, you know, nerf us. Well, they don't need to, but we hope that they are, because we don't need the units to get hit necessarily, right? Even the Ludos were doing absolutely perfectly fine and more breaking anybody's backs when they before Mordaka came out. Therefore, you know, GW, you know, asking GW to be aware of that and not simply increase the points on all of our DACA units. Really just take a time to look at the detachment and realize that, you know, maybe a mixture of limiting the rules and excluding some of the rules is a better way to approach that. So with that being said, we'd love to see the Migmac shock attack gun, tank buster still keeping it. Exactly. Morphic Dragon saying exactly what we're talking about right now. Kind of worried to buy more tank busters since they might eat another nerf due to the more DACA. This is exactly what we don't want to see. But that's why even having one of them you get, that we're talking about right here, Dragon, if you got one, you got enough to keep going on this. So then we got Boss Nikrot, followed by a War Boss and Mega Armor with the Telepota and enhancement. Now, I absolutely love that enhancement, because a lot of the time, obviously, we're going to go first with Bully Boyz. But if you do end up going second, you have a really nice tool piece with a Rapid Ingress Mega Boss. Then you just got another War Boss and Mega Armor. It comes into, like, do you want gas or do you just want more stuff, right? And in this case, you want more stuff. So that's the real question. You're going to be cunning, or you're going to have more stuff and Bully Boyz. And this is what Tomas is doing. I like that he's teching into that. Gives you more options to win more matchups. Now you have 4 trucks, and then he went 2 units of Breaker Boys. As you can see, they have no leader. This is something that's contentious, because I even seen a poll big, you know, thing put out there on you know, social medias and multiple platforms, where they say, where would you take Breaker Boys? War Horde or Bully Boyz or X without a leader? And a lot of the time, obviously, Warhorde is default because sustain, but there is play in this detachment with Breaker Boy units, simply because you know that they're going to get their wall off, which is the only time that they have, you know, assured utility. And then you don't invest for the War Boss, then at least they become cheaper, and you don't feel so bad if they don't really get the auto kill that you need them to on someone's big bad unit. But they still impose, you know, their presence on the field and stuff to be respected. So I like that. 140 points, it becomes very, very fun. Now, you has a 5-man unit flash kits, even if that's all you can get. Excellent, nice little SWAT team. Let you get in fights early, clear a little shooting up. Maybe ends up doing secondaries for you. That 5-man flash kits matters. Even the 20-point difference between that and a burner boy unit is exceptional for the durability and its combat. Because yes, I know that your burner boys hit on you know, -2 AP, but they're only hitting on 4s and only strength 4. So I like that. If you can, flash kits. You can't, burner boys, fine too. 3, Gretchen, because you need more stuff in Bully Boyz, right? This is, do we need more stuff, and do we need to be cunning with more stuff? These are the questions that Tobias was asking himself, and this is what he's coming to answer with. So he's brought max amount around your Gretchen. This is something that I've consistently been seeing. You know, and we can see here that he actually somehow got away with only 1 unit of Storm Boys, right? That's, you know, a bit contentious sometimes, but if you can't fit them because trucks cost exactly the same, you can get away with just 1. It just feels a lot of time you're just like, I don't want to get away with just 1. So I appreciate that. What's up, Darth Maul? Whoa, to the chat. What's up, you gets, everybody? So pretty exciting out here because Bully Boys still got it. They still got it, you guys. Can you appreciate how much a wall is freaking awesome when, especially when we can how it changed into the start of our turn. So yeah, that actually matters a lot instead of battle round. That was really freaking annoying. Then here we got some more infiltration. He has a 10-man unit of commandos. He simply brought the claw and the breacher. Bam, nice and simple. So Snickrot and Mandos, simply usually not putting them together. From what I've seen, but hey, some crazy kids get out there and do it. Because Snickrot, you know, you're trying to keep him alive to actually score, but Mandos can be to offset your enemies based off whatever the deployments are and the mission and the matchup. So we'll talk about that a little bit as we can keep that in mind as we look at their path to victory. Then he has 3 Mega Knob units. One of them is the big brick. And you know, could be the teleporter. Like I said, rapid ingress, fantastic for that. And the other thing that I thought was interesting here that I'm gonna triple check is something that I've been, you know, when we were doing fix my list with this last week when people were like, well, what's going on with the war boss and mega armor? And it's like, well, do I have to bring make sure I was clicking the right guy, do I have to bring mega bosses for every single mega knob unit? Sorry guys, I was looking at making sure I'm missing. And I said no, I can contested and I've played with, and I'm pretty, you know, confident to say that you don't need every single mega boss unit to be sorry mega knob unit to have a boss applied to it, because in this detachment you can simply on that first WAAAGH where you're committing kind of obviously the breaker boys and these other units, these guys are just be okay, well, I'm going to drop CP into reroll hits into this one unit. When you come to commit into them, then come my boss unit as the second wave, where I don't have to commit my leaders into the enemy when they're the strongest, but once the enemy kind of tries to through some of my assets, such as my leaderless mega knob unit, now I can respond with my 2 mega bosses and their damage 3 into what I hope is the more valuable unit. So the mega boss, the 5-man mega knob unit, you'll say that doesn't have a leader, or maybe it's a 6-man unit who decides to run that, right? Maybe you decide just to do that. I'm not even sure, but it's an option. You can play the game with a leaderless tank buster unit and it be a part of your first wave to draw enemies and to actually try to kill them, and it becomes that one unit that you can spend your stratagems on while everything else is getting in its simple skirmish fights. One tank stormbolt unit and then one tank buster unit, like I said. Even if you only got one, guys, it makes a big difference in the game to get that enemy respect. And shout out to Jank. Oh, what's up, you guys? You guys are popping in the chat. Are you guys still feeling up to it, right? You guys aren't discouraged by the fact that GW is out here making you sweat your painting in your hobby path, because you're like, man, what am I going to bring? You know, GW is out here cooking me. Earlier I showed the wrong get with Stefan. I meant Tobas was this one right here, but Tobas did go 2-1, 3-1-1 as I said. So let's go over his path to victory. Shout out to our sponsors, the Baron of Dice, as they helped us do our wall tactic dice. So shout them out. Check them out in the description. 5% off in the discount because nobody likes taxes. And shout out to Baron of Dice. They allow us to do our paint competition. So thank you very much to them. Now, so first game. And these are all close games too. Look at this. 11, 10, 11, and then a 1, and then a 20. Besides his one loss. So he was up to it the whole time, which I appreciate. My gig was working for them W's. Let's go for his first game, where he went into Chaos Space Marines, Fellhammer Siege Host. So we got Abaddon Despoiler, Chaos Lord Terminator Armor, and then Fabius Bow. I love Fabius Bow. If you haven't read the books, I suggest it to my fellow lore gets. So we have Cultist Mob, 2 5-man units of Legionnaires, 2 Rhinos, 1 Chaos Biker unit, a big brick of Chaos Terminators with auto Reaper 2 of them have the Reaper cannons. Then they have the mixture of Power Fist. A big brick of Chosen, a small unit of Chosen, and then a big old brick of Possessed. This is the bang it out elite army kind of matchup, right? Your fight on death will actually matter a lot. Who goes first and what your rapid ingress comes into play. Kind of killing everything else and not throwing your assets into Abaddon will make a big difference. And all those valuable 3 damage hits. Will this game, you can play this game multiple times. I bet you it can swing, because it's like, will my breaker boys actually crack back these Chosen and these Possessed? You know, a Fabian Bile makes them even higher toughness for their T6. You have to declare the wall so that your breaker boys are strength 7 to make a difference in that fight. So it's a really fun dynamic matchup. Let's see what that first. I'm pretty sure, guys, that and weirdly they actually had the missions right here in the front. But this was, yeah, here's the info you guys can see. I pull it up right on screen. So they were playing terrain map 1 and then layout 1 and 6. So for matchup 1, primary mission was take and hold, raise banners, and then tipping point for that first one. So take and hold. Ooh, they're about duking it out, right? Just hold 5-5 and then skirmish out in the middle, right? The middle is where the most points can be played for them secondary. So you just got to be there. Then we're going to go into the second game, if we can pull that up right here. Because you have to go back and forth before that. Maybe I should have busted out that second tab here. I'll have to duplicate it. So we're going to the second game now. The second game is actually where he gets that tie. He gets a tie, but based off this scoring, this differential, it could be that he was simply, could have been within 3 points of each other and they'll still be deemed a tie. So let me get that second matchup. What's up, chat? What do you guys? I gotta check out that poll. Let me check out that poll. What you guys got to say so far? Dang, you guys got a 68% right now in chat saying that you guys are gonna get hit with a nerf. All right. I'm listening, you guys. Don't worry. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying. So we got his second game, which was going into the Tau Empire Monka. So we have Cadre Fireblade, and then Commando Shadow Sun. 2 units of breachers. Pretty horrific to most Orkan units, especially if you're standing on objective, rerolling wounds, the amount of volume of fire. And then, of course, if they have their devil fishes, these guys are, running up the field, chucking these units. They can scout. That's where having all these infiltration matters. Big. I'm sure. This game gets rough if you got no infiltrators, you guys. Trust me. If you're playing against a really proficient Tau player that goes assets forward, disembark, makes a bunch of screens, and then really lay their guns into you and prolong the game. If you're playing Bully Boyz, that's really rough. So you need infiltration, which is awesome. You said, "What's up, Greenskins?" Yeah, it was good. So we have broadside battle suits, 2 units of those, ghost kill, and then a unit of carnivores, with another unit of crew riders. Shout out to crew riders, kind of cool. Pathfinders, little piranhas, 2 of those. 2 Riptide battle suits, a Scar Raid gunship, and then 3 minimum size unit of stealth suits with some Vespid. And yes, this is a lesson that I had to learn myself, guys. Even if they bring these stealth suits, I still, say that be somewhat aggressive, not throw them away, but place your commandos in a way that they can still come up and participate in the game. Don't be so taken aback because the enemy can put so many of these guys forward. That's really what they want. Like, a novice Tau player will maybe be scared to go into you because they're scared of actually losing so many assets and getting beat up and overwhelmed. But someone who the combat phase and how not to get touched will actually kind of put their devilfish forward and kind of make you take options. Those little piranhas, they're like T6 with 7 wounds or something like that. Make you take battle shocks. Like they have all this little trash that can go up and just say, "Well, run into." And when you do, I'm gonna blow you away. And keep in mind, this is Purge the Foe, rough, right? Purge the Foe for Orks is like the bane of our existence. So kudos to him for pulling this off in a tie against Tau, because that takes good resource management to understand that I can't overkill them because then I just run out of stuff and everything that's left over is just durable things. And I'm a Bully Boyz kind of army. So all my stuff that I use to kill them is expensive in itself. And that's why we're glad that you have assets in all these trucks so you can get a lot of activations instead of just playing these big missile breaks in Bully Boyz. So he's adapted to this meta right here. The fact that he could pull off Purge the Foe against Tau is behoove you. And then it's search and destroy. So imagine if you're playing this, guys, now even more. Tau, remember, they have plenty of infiltration, plenty of scouting. And then now you're actually playing on search and destroy deployment, and you're playing something like a Bully Boyz. Let's say you're playing an OG Bully Boyz where you're just playing like a Gaz or just a bunch of big death ball bricks, and you didn't bring the Mando, and you didn't bring Snickra. You're just kind of stuck there, right? Where they can just kind of box you in that corner, you fight your way out, and then they've taken all the lanes of fire, they've taken over the deep strike locations. If you end up going second, they can take over your rapid ingress places so that you don't have anywhere to put a teleport up. So these are all big factors on why we constantly need you guys to push infiltration, even though it's kind of boring. And yes, our infiltrators are arguably overpriced. What they do for us, just for the board state and board control matter, they impose, you're playing that one more phase of the game where you get to get a say on where you can even end up sometimes. So now we have so good job to that. Even though it was a draw. But on Purge the Phone, you guys know how rough that can be when you're playing Talos. But especially and then you were searching strike. So great job. I'm giving kudos to I'm saying Commandos helped a lot with that. So now we move on to his third game. Yeah, dude. Okay, what's up, Max? So I'll see you guys all up in here. Don't worry, I'll talk to chat in a second. Don't worry. Yeah, I see you guys responding to what I said. Yeah, no, I'm not arguing about what you guys think with chats. The question I have is how much of this nerf will happen? Is GW actually grounded enough? Are they just the fact that they haven't hit us already, like they hit Scatterstar? Because trust me, I'm not a Necron lover, right? I'm actually one. I love Crump and Necrons. Absolutely love it. But they got hit before they even got to use that detachment to a certain degree, right? in any realistic sense. So the fact that they haven't hit it, does this mean they're like in a sense a little grounded? Are they gonna really just know that it's Zod and the WAAAGH and maybe limit sustain 2 to just walkers? Like if they did that, that'd be sick, and so many people would be happy about that. Like or even if you're just like, well, blast rockets can't get it, and you try to include some certain units, that'd be awesome. So now let's look at this third matchup where he still pulled off a W. A Bexol, what you laughing at, dog? So we go to this third game. We got Blood Angels, Liberated Soul Group. We got Captain and Jump Pack, Mephiston, Commander Dante, and then Lamarties. A big brick of Assault Jump Pack, Jetpack Boaz, a 10-man brick of Death Company, followed by 2 Lancers. I feel like Ball Predators are a little better. I know they're not the same role. I'm very, very sure we're aware of that. I'm just saying for like the points and what they're doing for the list, pretty sick. Then he brings 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Oh, okay. And we're bringing those back, huh? A big brick of Sanguinary Guard, 2 Scout, a little bit of an unusual list. Does have a lot of armor, a bunch of missile bricks so they can get the initiative on you. But if you're playing, Tobas's formation of I have a bunch of trucks and infiltration, and this guy only has scouts, it's like, well, we can get kicked off, boys. We can get it kicking. This is where I like the 6-man unit, or sorry, the 5-man unit of leaderless Meganobs. You can draw so many, valuable assets with just that one unit being placed in the proper position in the game. So let's see what actually mission they were playing, because I actually want to see real quick. What do you guys? Can I take you guys? I just want to make it. You guys, okay? Go ahead and chat. Tell me what you guys want to actually see, right? And then maybe I'll put a poll out if I see enough good options out here. What you guys want Daka to be. Be realistic though. If you say something silly, I'll ignore you, but I'll giggle. All right. So as for his third game, it was terrain map 3 and 5. Mission was terraform. Ooh. Then we got fog of war and sweeping engagement. Now terraform, boys, that's one where you got to kick it kicked off early. Again, that's where I like Mandos and Snick Route, specifically Snick Route, right? Because terraform, you actually have to survive. But if you even get one off, that for the rest of the game is giving you points, and you end up getting a differential, about 8-point differential, just from having one of those terraformed, right? There's been plenty of games where I've won the game because simply I terraformed and the enemy didn't. And remember, you don't have to kill their unit to stop the terraform, right? Now, people will think that's the first thing I have to do, but all you have to do to stop a terraform is to put enough OC on there to flip the control of the objective, and you'll turn off the terraform. So Snake Rod does help you with that, but if the enemy has the potential to go out there and touch and flip it with their OC, you should have a contingency for that. Sometimes the commandos having the ability to just box out that objective, and then Snake Rod being the lone op within the terrain piece to do it will make the differential here on terraform on this mission. On mission 3. And the thing is, that was also let me see what that was. Yeah, and that was also a very close game. Let me pull this out for you, kids. Where he was 11 point victory, right? Stomp of 700 points. I'm down for that, because we still have to pay for the baby mech most of the time, unless it's still sustained 2. If it's sustained 2, then you don't need a baby mech, I guess. Then we got, so yeah, great job there, pulling that W out. I'm hoping that you were strategic and got that terraform off, and that made the differential. So then we're going into his loss. This is where he actually pulled off his one loss. It happens, but still, you're playing Bully Boyz. When you're playing Bully Boyz, it just happens. And Bully Boyz don't like Death Guard, right? Oh man, let's see what he got. If he got all those tools that we're hoping he doesn't have. So he has Biologist, Putrefier, Foul Blightspawn, Mortarion, and then Typha. We have a big brick of Plague Marines. They're going to get their lethal 5+. They get plenty of special weapons. And then they also get fights first. They don't really effectively like pick up Meganons, but those super wreck Breaker Boys that try to run out into the middle, like with Overwatch, with their flamers, because our fat boy over here, which one, right here, Foul Blightspawn with this plague launcher. So then he has one Rhino, obviously, for them. Then they got like a firing deck on top of that as well, so they can stick those guns out and hose you down. One unit of cultists, and then he brings a bunch of predator destructors. Now, if he decides, because he goes, well, I don't really have to make you -1 to hit plague. Let's see if he has, because he doesn't have them. That's what I thought. He doesn't have Nurglings anymore, and then it doesn't work as an aura anymore. In this case, it's not so much of I got to make you -2 to hit. In this case, it's I treat you like a Space Marine. I make you reduce armor by, your armor saves by 1. Then I get some extra AP on you, and then I start just picking up your Meganob. Then we have 1 unit of Death Shroud Terminators, 3 units of Blow Drones, and then 3 units of Plague Burst Crawlers. So a lot of armor, a lot of potential killy, and then nothing that's on this list is really effectively taking down or tying down more. So that's where these big perks of 20 boys come into play. Even if Zod is not in this detachment, can come into play. Oh, I thought Jank said let's see some let's see some boys, but he said let's see some likes. Yeah, what's up, Jank? But I was gonna say let's see some boys. This is what we were looking at last week, right? Because this is a continuous lesson. Last week we were seeing how different orc detachments were playing with multiple 20-man units of boys, and that was to bog down units like Mortarion in these matchups where you can't kill everything. And I'm still subject to think that, you know, a 20-man unit of boys can go quite some ways. It's just what you end up cutting for them, right? So 1 point in there. So it's quite a swingy game. Let's see what it was. Let's see what that fourth mission was. Okay, it was Scorched Earth, map terrain 2 and 8, tipping point, swift action. Okay, you know, Scorched. From the differential of the points, though, it just seems like, you know, he didn't really get going at any point. But it's all good though, because he made it back up for his last game. In his last game, he chewed someone up with the big old 20. He went into another orc player, boy. He went back and snatched some teeth from some fellow orc boy. Now, no shame on this get. You know, it's a good fight when you do an orc player, and someone having 2 WAAAGHs could definitely be rough. So we have Gazgul Traka, followed by 2 war bosses, and then 2 war bosses of mega armor, 2 10-man unit of boys, 4 truck, 2 minimum size unit of Gretchen, flash kits, 1 minimum size unit of Gretchen, some Mandos as well. Like to see that. You get good job. 2 5-man units of Mega Knobs, and then 2 Mega Knobs for Gaz, 2 5-man units of Knobs, and then Storm Boys. So he kind of wants to do what the Bully Boys were doing in this case. And I think the momentum of I can put my first wave into you, call one to clean up my first wave, and then I call one after you and kind of pick you up is, you know, kind of how that could end up going. So no shame in that, no harm, no foul. But great job to Tobas. Let's see that Bully Boys being a little bit more cunning with that infiltration and just bringing more stuff, right? And I'm into that. I think it does require, you know, piloting and patience and understanding. But I think a lot more orc players should consider the other detachments if you're just really, really discouraged right now of more DACA and you're not really trying to play with your nerf stuff. But if you want to add additional supplemental shooting that you've unlocked or the new kill teams that you've got, you know, go ahead and just start plugging into these other detachments. They still go far, and I really don't think GW is going to hit the data sheets, to be honest. I think they're really aware, just like they are with Tactical Brigade, it's mostly the detachment's fault. So this is the kind of list that I encourage you guys to innovate. The innovation that we've talked about when I was doing Fix My List, and I made someone a list of Bully Boys, and I said, trust me, you can run Mega Knobs without a leader. We're seeing that now in activation and play again. So a lot of you guys, you know, have fun with them Bully Boys, get stuck inland, and great job, Tobas. Whoa! Be a cunning git and check out our new order markers that are in our store. So shout out to you gits being cunning. Help you guys get all the orders set on the table, nice and clean for all you gits to get stuck in. If you enjoyed the clip, check out the full video here. If you'd like to see more tactics, click here.
Let's get stuck in, lads!